Oh, I'm so excited to be back doing reaction videos. I was wondering when the next analysis video was going to come out. Um, season 2 of Dino Doom has been on kind of a hiatus because, it's between season 2 and 3. Um, and I was missing doing reaction videos, so I reached out to Decino. I wanted to see if he'd be willing to have reaction videos done of his new stuff. His new analysis videos, specifically. And he gave the thumbs up. So, obviously, this is being done with his consent. If you haven't seen this video, please, I encourage you, turn it off. Go watch on his channel. Go give him your first view. And then come back here and we'll watch this together. Additionally, I have seen the first couple of minutes of this video. I was going to react to this the other day. But, like, a little bit into it, I wasn't feeling very well, and I could just tell I wasn't really, my heart wasn't in it at that day. So, I wanted to save the rest for when I was, actually able to give it my 100%. I want to put my best foot forward. I want to look presentable for my first, Decino reaction, I think that's about it, so I guess let's launch into it. Are all Doom monsters equally aggressive? Well, I already know the answer is no. I could tell that just from seeing how often Kako demons attack versus, anything else. But, the Pokemon music. Yeah, Abattoir!
Okay.
Monsters in Doom can be relentless. Poking your head around the corner can result in an instant death.
Yep.
But sometimes they take their sweet ass time to attack.
But it's only when I want to start infighting that they're this sluggish. Also, I'm eating an ice cream sandwich. I had one earlier, so of course I have to have 3 more. It's always... I really want to say that there's something to do with, enemies being in the way. That, really just stops them from trying to attack you. I don't know.
Bruh.
What gives? What determines a monster's aggression level? And are all monsters equally aggressive? Before we answer those questions, we must have a look when exactly monsters decide to attack.
Okay.
Let's start from the very beginning. This monster is asleep, has no target set, and will therefore not chase down anyone. The moment it spots a target, the hunt begins.
Which I believe it has to be on a specific idle frame. Because I know there's times I've walked in front of enemies, and they sit there for a second, and then see me.
Down the
That's still fucking hilarious.
target is handled by a function called A-chase. Let's see what A-chase does. The first thing it does is decrement the monster's reaction time. We'll get back to this later.
Yep.
Same with this condition that checks if the monster has just attacked. Then it will check if it can do a melee attack. If this monster has a melee state and is near the target, it will start getting physical. The Imp, Pinky, Spectre, Hell Knight, Baron of Hell and Revenant all have a melee state. You can whiff the Pinky, Spectre and Revenant's melee attack by backpedaling.
A tactic I do a lot when I'm berserk punching, or as I call it, paddling.
The Imps, Hell Knights and Barons are crafty murder mutants. If you whiff their melee attack, they will toss a fireball instead. The Kako Demon is a special case. It does have
Yeah, I've seen that give a lot recently.
a melee attack, but not a melee state. When it does a ranged attack, and you happen to be within melee range, it will chomp you.
Uh-oh.
If the target is not close enough for a melee attack, and the monster has a ranged attack, then let's see if we can attack the target with that.
Okay, so this is somebody who's awful at code, by the way, me, right here. Let me see if I can interpret this right. So, the first thing it does is it decrements reaction time. It'll check if it won't attack if it just attacked. It'll check if it's in melee range, if so, perform a melee attack. If not, then it'll check to see if it can do a ranged attack. Which if it's nightmare or fast monsters look like always. And then between the range, it'll check the range and then roll a random number. And then if that number is above or below a certain amount, it either will or won't attack. I think. I remember seeing that from another video.
The monster can only do a ranged attack when its movement counter is 0. Each time a chase is called, the movement counter decrements by 1. When it drops below 0, or when it bumps into something,
What did that say?
and
Oh, move count resets what it said.
it can move to any of its 8 possible directions, the counter will be set to a random value between 0 and 15. When playing on Nightmare difficulty, or...
Oh, 15. 0 and 15, that's why sometimes they just attack twice in a row. That makes sense.
with fast monsters enabled, the movement counter check is omitted.
They may as well not even exist.
So, the monster's movement counter is 0. Let's see how it determines whether or not it will do a ranged attack. First and foremost, the target must be visible. If it cannot see the target, don't attack.
Makes sense.
Monsters can see through other monsters.
Unfortunately.
So only the map geometry can block sight. Also, keep in mind that enemies that attack in volleys, like cyberdemons and mancubi, only run the range attack check once at the start of their attack. The next condition it checks is if the
Dude, imagine if they could, if they ran at every single attack. Like, imagine you dip behind a wall and it just stops attacking. That would actually really, change the game a little bit.
monster was just hit. The flag MF just hit is set when the enemy went into its pain state.
I mean, if somebody rolled up behind me and just laid one out on my ass, yeah, I'd probably hit him too.
Very aggressive, and will attack the target regardless of the upcoming restrictions.
Yeah, retaliation.
Lost souls in the charging state do not get this flag set.
Yeah, they're
Remember
weird,
the
I'm noticing.
reaction time that decremented at the start of 8 chase?
Yeah.
Each monster wakes up with a reaction time of 8. As long as the reaction time value is greater than 0, the monster will never attack. They need some time.
Wait, sorry, I was thinking about the Lost Soul. Can you say that again?
Time that decremented at the start of 8 chase?
Yes.
Each monster wakes up with a reaction time of 8. As long as the reaction time value is greater than 0, the monster will never attack. They need some time to wake up, I suppose.
I think melee range is omitted as well. They tend to,
The reaction time is set to 0 when you harm the monster, however. Even if the monster doesn't go into its pain state.
Really?
This means that if you wake up a monster by shooting at it, you risk an immediate counterattack, as its move count will be at 0.
Oh, that happened to me when I played Heart Attack once from Hell Revealed, yeah. Okay, so it looks like there might be some merit if it's a stronger enemy to, only attack it if there's cover or if you can one-shot it. Because the instant you hit it, you're gonna get... There's a decent chance you're gonna get retaliated against. I don't even know if this is guaranteed, actually. I forgot.
When a monster goes back to sleep after killing a target, its reaction time doesn't reset. When this monster wakes up again, it can immediately attack.
Okay, it only runs it on Wake Up.
Playing on Nightmare difficulty completely gets rid of the reaction time. Enemies that wake up, regardless of shooting them first or not, will not hesitate attacking you.
So it just outright sets it to 0, it doesn't just skip it. It does more than just... It still uses it. It just says, if it's Nightmare, it's 0.
Interestingly enough, when they respawn, their reaction time is set to 18. This is a significant amount of time before they're able to attack again. So utilize this mechanic well if a Nightmare monster respawns in front of you. After the
that's actually good design, because imagine you're in a room with a bunch of enemies and you're fighting a cyber demon. Or rather, how about this? Let's flip that. You're in a room with a couple dead cyber demons and you're fighting some other enemies. They could just respawn and immediately attack you and you can't react to it. So I guess that's to give you a chance to back up. That's actually really good.
Action time check, it will calculate the distance between the monster and its target. A magic number of 64 is subtracted from this distance. If the enemy has no melee state, another 128 is subtracted from this distance value. If the monster is an archfowl and the distance is over 896 units, then do not attack.
Okay.
The distance in reality is actually 1088. Remember, we subtracted 64 and 128 earlier. Also, this check is complete.
The sound design lately for the analysis videos has just been flawless. I can't tell you how many times I belly laughed at what was the one for Monster Paralysis?
Completely skipped if the Archer went into its pain state and had its MF just hit flag set, giving it unlimited range.
True, because I guess if they retaliate, it doesn't check distance. It just says attack, which makes sense.
If the monster is a Revenant and the distance is less than 196 units, then do not do a ranged attack. Again, we subtracted 64 earlier, so this distance in reality is 260 units. Revenants have a melee state, so we never subtracted the 128. This check creates a small dead zone where Revenants will not shoot missiles. But just like the Archfall, this check is omitted if the Revenant went into its pain state.
Say it again, the sound design is still top of the line. Yeah, I'm noticing it's very difficult to paddle Revenants because of how aggressive they are with their, because they have a high pain state as well. This is why it's so dynamic, is because Revenants can't attack really, or they can't ranged attack up close. So if you're using an SSG or just using any weapon really, there's a very high chance they're just gonna retaliate with a missile right in front of you if you're up close because of the pain state, because their pain state chance is so high, right?
The Revenant is guaranteed to retaliate with a ranged attack within 15 steps.
Wait, say that again?
Retaliate with a The Revenant is guaranteed to retaliate with a ranged attack within 15 steps.
Oh, that's why it's not immediate. Sometimes it's just not immediate for it, so it takes a
second. You can
second.
stop the Revenant from taking any steps and making it whiff. Look at this nerd. Anyway, if the Revenant's target is 260 units or more away, it will cut the calculated distance value in half. The same is done if the monster is a Cyberdemon, Spider Mastermind, or Lost Soul. The calculated distance value is capped at 200, unless the monster is a Cyberdemon, then it's capped at 160. Then a random value
I just want to say real quick, music is awesome.
Between 0 and 255 is generated. If the generated value is greater than the distance value, it will do a ranged attack. A flag will be set to tell that this monster has just attacked. Remember the condition at the start of a chase? This flag ensures that the monster must move at least a tiny bit before attacking again. Unless playing on Nightmare difficulty or with fast monsters enabled.
Fast
then they
Parmesan.
can get turrets all they want.
It must be on Nightmare, or there must be fast Parmesan.
So as you can see, the distance between the monster and its target decides the likelihood of it running its ranged attack. The further away the target is, the less frequent it will attack. Monsters are guaranteed to run the range
Okay, the move counter up at the top is freaking out.
attack when the target is in close proximity and the movement counter hits 0. Enemies placed on towers are not as consistent however. They keep bumping into the edges, which resets their move counter. It can keep generating move counter values so high that it will almost never reach 0 and therefore barely attack.
I see.
On the other hand, bumping into an edge can also generate very low move counter values, causing it to attack a lot. RNG can be weird like that.
Yeah.
Since the move counter is bound to running a range attack check, that means that enemies that call A chase more frequently will do range attacks more often. We can categorize 4 groups of enemies based on how often they call A chase. Keep in mind that we've excluded enemies that have no range attack. Sorry, Pinkies Inspectors.
Alright, Pinkies.
Group A has the fast
That was a me impression.
boys. Both the Archfall and Revenant call A chase every 2 ticks. On average, they will try to do a range attack every 0.6 seconds. Group B has the majority of the enemies. They will call A chase every 3 ticks. On average, they will try to do a range attack every 0.85 seconds. Group C is a bit slow. Zombiemen and Mancubi call A chase every 4 ticks. On average, they will try to do a ranged attack every 1.1 seconds. Group D is... Lost Souls are really slow at deciding when to attack. 6 ticks between each A chase call, so 1 range attack check every 1.7 seconds on average.
Doesn't feel like 1.7 seconds though. Sometimes they just how fast they charge you.
I can understand this information bomb being a bit overwhelming. So many different conditions and arbitrary numbers, but don't worry, I've crunched the numbers for you. Hell, let's go rank the aggressiveness level for each monster while we're at it. Why? Because ranking things is, epic.
Does Mount Pain notice references in there?
Each monster while we're at it.
He has to.
Why?
That's kind of
Because
obvious.
ranking things is, epic. For these rankings, we're assuming the monster doesn't have the MF just hit flag set. Since the distance between the monster and target matters a lot, we'll rank the aggressiveness using 3 different distances: 600, 300, and 200 map units.
Okay.
How exactly do we determine the rank? Easy. First we check the likelihood of an enemy attacking at a given distance. Then we check how often it tries to attack within a certain time span, and how many of these attacks were successful. Using these 3 variables.
Alright, I need to hear that again. Sorry, I was jamming to the music.
First, we check the likelihood of an enemy attacking at a given distance. Then,
Okay.
we check how often it tries to attack within a certain time span, and how many of these attacks were successful. Using these three variables, we can calculate a constant. Let's start with a distance of 600 first. Most of the enemies here have a 21% chance to attack when the move count hits 0, except the Cyber Demon, where it's 38% because of its reduced distance cap. The reduced cap loosens up the random number restrictions. The attack chances are mostly the same, but we can sort them by the HA stick rate.
Alright, let's see what we got here. So we have... Oh, okay, well, I mean, I definitely figured the Cyber Demon was the most aggressive. That kind of just makes sense. Yeah, I mean, this all pretty much looks standard. I'm kind of surprised there's so much in the middle, though.
Moving on to a distance of 300. This is where things get more interesting. Here, the Archvile is king. Even though its attack chance is only 57%, its HA stick rate really boosts up the constant. In contrast, the Cyber Demon and Spider Mastermind's attack chance is a whopping 81%, but on average they will attack a tiny bit less often than the Archvile.
Well, here's the thing, that tiny bit is kind of insignificant when you consider there's, like, the extra 24% chance that they have at trying to swing at you, you know? It's kind of like, do you want more chances to attack, or do you want the higher chance to attack, you know?
The Revenant takes 3rd place, but in general, the top 3 groups here are more or less equally aggressive at this distance. Then we've got the melee.
Sure, it's in an actual fight, it's so unnoticeable that they're all basically going to be like the same kind of aggression.
Melee monsters, the slow boys, the lost souls, and perhaps a bit surprising, these monsters.
Really?
Because of their melee state, they do not get the meleeless distance calculation bonus. They will hit their distance cap at relatively short distances. At a distance of 200, most enemies are guaranteed to attack when the move counter hits 0. At the top, we've got the Archvile, who will very reliably attack you at a high frequency.
That makes sense.
Up next, we've got the bosses.
Also
Meleeless
makes sense.
Enemies have a similar...
See, this is a case now where you would prefer the Archvile because the 1% really means nothing. Also, they're way more likely to attack with this high tick rate than the Cyber Demons.
aggression level as the bosses at this distance. Then we get the slow boys.
Although, it really doesn't fucking matter. If you're that close to them, you're getting attacked basically no matter what.
Followed by the lost souls, and then imps and bigger imps. And at the
Bigger
very
imps.
bottom, we've got the Revenant. No range.
Oh
attack
yeah,
for you,
there's
my
because
dear.
they're too close. They
As long
can't.
as we don't shoot you at least. What can we conclude? Overall, Cyber Demons appear to be the most aggressive monster. At far distances, it is the sniping king, but also at medium range combat, it is very likely to attack often. The Archvile is relentless at close and medium range combat. Ironically, the enemy types mapmakers tend to use as snipers, such as imps and hell knights, aren't as efficient. I'm even willing to give the Baron of Hell the dunce cap for being a faker.
The dunce cap! The dunce cap! It returns!
This enemy that docile? Shame.
They went for the intimidation factor, I think.
May this info help
Ah!
you out on...
This is my first time watching an analysis video on my PC. That is very bright, but you will see it.
getting good at those tough Doom levels.
Oh wait, there's a. This is just a Patreon list, right? Yeah. Is there anything after? Okay. Well, there's one thing I want to see, because I'm incredibly what's the word? What's the word?
Soderbergh, Matthew
Pretentious, that's the
American,
word. Where is
Matthias
it?
Sippert, Max Payne 67, Mr. Charon, Neko Ninja Core,
Where is it? Ah!
Nighthawk 71,
Ah!
Pete
It's me!
Peterson, Pig's Drift,
It's me!
Pyroshi, Quake Gamers
There I go!
632.
Alright. That's the end of that bit. This was really enjoyable to see. Let me actually back up off this. Let me go right here. Yeah, there. That's fine. It wasn't the most enlightening video for me. I was expecting, well, I guess I did learn quite a bit. I did kind of like, I know about how far back I can be to not get punched by Revenant. Or, sorry, missiled by a Revenant, which honestly, that's good information no matter what. I also basically learned that when you're, like, about 6 Doom guys in range of somebody, you're basically getting hit no matter what. Yeah, this was, I was definitely expecting the results to be a lot less, I guess, standardized. Everything is... It's like there's, like, 1 of 4 results, and most of the enemies all just went into one of them. Right? So, I guess I was expecting the enemies to be a lot more, like... a lot more volatile, you know what I mean? But that was really good. That was really good. Really funny. Good jokes. Good references. Good topic. I was a big fan. Alright, well that was my reaction video to Decino's video. I guess I will hippity hop on out of here. Peace, boys.